11,000 just gone. 11,002 miles. The little milestone, another 1,000 miles gone by. Peacefully and uneventfully awesome. Well, driving along here, local, very local, and look what I see in the drive. A Nissan Leaf. How cool is that? 14 plate. That is extremely local. I'm probably 5-6 miles away from home. How cool. Afternoon. 6-month review of Nissan Leaf. So I've given this some thought. It's actually 7 months in now, as of today. I've been meaning to do this for quite a while. I just haven't had the chance. I've been away for a week, so I haven't had a chance to do the usual episodes that I've been doing. And to be honest, not a lot's happened. So, 6-month review. A lot has happened. That's one thing. On reflection, in just 6 months, so much has happened. So started out going from petrol to electric to see where the journey would take me. To see basically, are they any good? Are electric cars any good? Is a Nissan Leaf any good? You know, it's only got an 80 to 90 mile range, 80 to 90 mile range all year round, more or less. Would it be any good? So I delved into the unknown, mail ordered it essentially, didn't see it, never test drove one, got it delivered. And then if you'd watched episodes 1 and up to now, you would see it didn't start extremely well, and it was a big learning curve. But where we've gone from there is incredible, really. We've gone from me having one, to Susie getting one, to Mum and Dad getting one, to Mike getting one. The impact has been fairly far-reaching, and it shows how good they really are by the fact that someone takes the plunge and does it, turns out really good, others follow, and of course that should spread the more people it goes to. So in 6 months it's been brilliant. The car has been really, really good. It also highlighted up and opened up in several areas I would never have even considered, not even thought of or thought I'd come across. And one of those was the greed aspect. And it's not necessarily greed per se, it's just that we're greedy. Quite the same thing. We're not going out our way. Or I'll speak for myself, I can't speak for anyone else, but I would just go and refuel without thinking about it. You just shove fuel in, fill it up, job done. And you just keep doing that. You plant your foot down and you zip all over the place. But that is in essence quite greedy. It's not thinking of what you're actually really doing. You're blind to it because there's no real need to. You fill up your tank with fuel and it'll do 300 miles. You haven't really got to worry about it. Don't worry about economy too much. And then when you start really micro-analysing how you're driving when you get the electric car, especially a Nissan Leaf because of its low mileage in comparison to a fuel tank on a standard car, you start to really realise how much you were wasting before. Really, that comes about from how much you're saving. You start to sit down and work how much you're saving and think, wow, I was spending a lot. You know, it works both ways. And it all dawned upon me how greedy the whole concept of it is, or how you, at best, how we've just got used to having copious amounts of fuel. And it crosses your mind, you know, what would happen if we didn't have that, and how would we cope with it? And it'd be life-changing for most people, almost everyone really. The Leaf takes you through that. You get a hint of that because you're off fuel and you're forced to fit this mindset. And it's not a bad mindset, it's really, really good. it's been a refreshing journey for the last 6 months. Yeah, it took me there where I would never even realise I would have gone. I wouldn't have guessed that it would have quite a profound impact on your actual whole way you think about how you consume. That is spread on to food even, where you think, wow, if I could save this much with my car, I wonder how much I'm overeating. Because I weighed myself and thought, well, I could probably be, I think I was 14 stone 3 pounds, 14 stone 4 pounds, something like that. No, 14 stone 5 pounds. So for the last month now, almost, I have cut down my food consumption. This is obviously going off topic for the Nissan Leaf, but it's just a highlight really, it's a whole summary. The weird road it might take you down, and hopefully will do, if you're thinking about getting one and you do get one, and you start really analysing everything about your consumption. And so I've done that with food, and I've brought my food right down. It's actually turned out more expensive to eat healthy, but I see that that's really you're buying yourself some extra life towards your end years. You're giving yourself the best chance. And it's the same with the electric car really. If we could just get a lot of people, if you could have 50% coverage of electric cars, it gives everyone the best chance. I've gone off of diesel fumes. I can't stand the smell, and the more you look into that, you realise how toxic they are and how bad they are for us. I live in the countryside, so I just feel sorry for people who are stuck in cities and the buses and everything are pouring out these diesel fumes, which are really, really bad for us. So there's loads of little things it takes you down, and the car itself has been very, very good. One thing to say, it's a challenge driving these things. If you're just popping about and you've got the safety of home, or you've got the safety of an infrastructure where you can just charge up, it's not really a challenge. So if you're doing within your 85 miles in a day, you're fine, and you can get the charge points easily to and from that. It's brilliant. If you want to do long journeys like I've done on several occasions throughout this last 6 months, like the Cornwall trip, the Exmouth trip, 2 fairly long ones, or 500 miles in 24 hours. Now that's a challenge, despite the infrastructure being there for rapid charges. You'd need to watch the previous episodes really to get a feel of that. That was as it happened. You know, that's the actual emotion going on at the time, the annoyance, the whole lot. It's not done on reflection. That's the whole point of this video blog really, is to film it there and then. So what I'm doing now is actually not like any of the other blogs I've done, because it's a reflection on the last 6 months, whereas usually it's just there and then. Oh, it's a Tesla in front. No, it's not. It's a Jaguar XF, which the back end looks more or less exactly like a Tesla, a Model S, which is a shame. It's a little bit narrower, but it looks almost exactly the same. I wonder if I can spin this around just to highlight the points. Yeah, it looks like Tesla. Anyway, that's a little dig there, a little joke. Where was I? Forgotten now. I just see electric cars everywhere now in my mind. Yes, so it's a challenge if you're doing long journeys. There is no doubt about that, and you can't pretend it isn't. But something that's always been apparent for me in the last 6 months is it's always been doable. It's never let me down. It's never ever let me down. I've never run out in 11,127 miles, despite me really going out my way to test it. You know, I have been intentionally taking a long journey. I could have gone down to Cornwall in Amy's car, my wife's car, but I chose not to. It was the easiest option to go in a diesel, but I have not yet had to switch cars because of the journey I had to do, despite their length. I've always used it. and I've kind of got a bit of a rule to myself, which is I will always use it. You know, I don't really want to quit out. Once you do it once or twice, it's quite easy to quit out on long journeys, and you'd never know the outcome. And that's the reason, another reason for these video blogs, is to see what the outcome would be. So you want to travel 500 miles in 24 hours? Can it be done? Yes, it can be done easily. Stressful some of the time. Takes longer than petrol cars? Yes, all of the time. But it's doable. It is doable. So looking back over the Cornwall trip, if you were really tight on money and somehow you could afford an electric car, which is a bit of a weird one, but anyway, if you were really tight on money, so you had an electric car and then you became really, really tight on money, you could actually go down to Cornwall, as I'm doing this video. In 2014, you could travel down there for basically nothing. So if you didn't have any money, you could get somewhere, you could go down and it cost you nothing. And it saved me £80. If not more than £80. That's the minimum it would have saved me on a 55 miles per gallon car, and it doing that on the motorway. So the car itself is brilliant. So the concept of it being an EV and it having a limited mileage is a bit of a null point, because I haven't come across anything yet where that has become a stumbling block where literally you cannot do your journey. It's happened to others, excuse me, but it hasn't happened to me, and I can only report back on what I've experienced. The build quality of the car, build quality of the Leaf is really good. I enjoy driving this car. It's a very nice car to drive. I've had a couple of rattles, but one of them got sorted out, the major one. Apart from that, it's been fine. I take rubbish from work. If you've seen in some of my videos, I smash it into the back and it just gets piled up, the boxes of rubbish. It works as a car, it works as a family car. The entertainment system, even though it's lacking and it's old, it is better than the Golf, for instance, the brand new Golf that I took out. It's miles better. So from that point of view, it's the best that I've seen so far in the cars that I've driven, and it's definitely adequate. The heads up, well, it's not really heads up, but the display for the energy is brilliant on this model. Of course, you don't get any of that on the Visio. It has been a brilliant journey so far in this 6 months. That is really all I can say. I haven't got a bad word to say about it. You could find bad points about it, but overall it's a 90% positive experience. And it's actually the times when it is stressful, it's also quite nice because it's a challenge. And you don't get many things where they're really easy and they're somehow really enjoyable. There's not a lot. You usually have to work for something, don't you? And this car makes you work for your long journeys nonetheless. And that's kind of enjoyable. The other thing is, and probably the last thing, because I can't really think of anything else to say, and I've probably said enough as it is to give you an idea of what it's like over the last 6 months in a summary. The other thing is meeting people at charges. You get to have chats with people, we've got something in common. And not only that, is online. I've met so many people online, so many people have written to me. It's been brilliant. I've met people from all over the world online through this, of which I would never ever have met or spoken to. You know, you take yourself on an adventure and it opens up this whole world that you didn't think you'd ever. That didn't cross my mind either. Didn't really cross my mind that anyone would be actually that interested in these videos. But as of, I think it's today, we've got 300 subscribers, which is good. Thank you all for subscribing. And I've been chatting to guys all over the world. You know, that's how I came across the Ninebot. I think he pronounced his name Ola, I'm not sure. In Norway, I wouldn't have got a Ninebot. I've always been looking out for Segways and other makers of Segways, something different and alternative, and I see a photo one day of this thing that looks like a Segway. But I only got that through the Nissan Leaf. So it's It's quite an amazing journey, to be honest, in many different aspects, and it has been definitely part of my life has changed because of it. So it does have an impact. Is it life changing? No, but part of my life. It changes your structure in quite a, for me it was quite an aggressive way to start with. So you're talking about every time you travel, which for people going to work, to and from work in a car, and if this is your car, that's how much it'll affect your life. Morning and afternoon and anything in between is where a pattern changes that you've been used to for years and years and years. Yeah, it has so far been exceptionally good, and I would highly recommend getting an electric car, even if it's not on Nissan Leaf, but I can't tell you how good the other ones are because I've got no experience of them. But Nissan Leaf is a sure bet if you've got a life like mine, travelling the distances I travel, and if you want to do long journeys, I've proven it can be done with a little bit of stress and minimal planning. I'm a minimal planning type of guy. That's why I mail ordered a Leaf. But it turned out, okay, you got to take a punt sometimes. And this has been brilliant. And that is my 6-month review. And enough of me babbling on. But I hope it's been informative. And I hope the video's been informative to date. And of course I will keep on reporting back as and when things actually happen out of the ordinary. Because this thing just buries itself into your life and then it becomes routine and you get used to it. And there's nothing much really to say about it. Alright guys, until the next video, goodbye.